CJ, you're announcing later this week.
Yes, sir.
Finally, the end of the process. When did you kind of get peace of mind in your decision and know it was the right choice?
I would say it was kind of like during those home visit period. I think I really got the sense of the people that I was getting recruited by both schools, UCLA and USC, and throughout that period and then after, the times I visited both schools, I think I really got the feeling where I wanted to go and where I saw myself comfortable and my family comfortable. So it was kind of, I would say, those weeks after the home visit period and then pretty close to the signing period.
What's it like going through this long process? You think you have it all figured out, and everything changes kind of in the last month or so.
Yeah, it was. It's tricky. There's a lot of different variables, and coming into it, I didn't know that the recruiting process or just college football is like that in general. I was just a wide-eyed, open kid, and I got the realness handed to me pretty early, and I kind of assumed, I kind of realized that you gotta do this best for yourself. You can't rely on any coaches. You can't rely on anyone other than yourself and your family. So I feel happy. I'm good. I feel good that it's coming to an end and I'll be done. And I'm officially done. And I got the sigh of relief that I'll be closer to home than before. Whether I go to UCLA or USC. So.
Well, talking about USC, they recruited you since your freshman year. It was a different program, a different coaching staff.
Right.
They had kind of fallen out of your recruitment, and then all of a sudden, boom! They're at the end. They're back in. What was the first moment you thought, I've got to reconsider this?
I would say it was even before this Coach Riley hire. I would say I knew there was talks of a coach coming in, whether it was Finkel from Cincinnati or the guy from Iowa State. I knew there was going to be a guy that was going to set the culture and set the program back to what we all see USC as in the past. So that's when I was kind of like, okay, maybe with this new age of USC coming and all the hype around and all these people wanting USC football to be legit again and at its peak performance, I would say. That's when I really realized USC is a possibility. Obviously, it's my hometown school, and it's less than 1 hour from my house. It's less than 35, 40 minutes from my school, my high school. So it was just I needed to see them put a commitment into the football program through not only a coaching hire, but also through all the different things that they were trying to do.
You mentioned home a few times.
Yes,
how valuable was it for you to stay home? Is it something you wanted the whole way through the process, and it just didn't make sense at a certain time?
Yeah, I would say it was something I wanted, but it wasn't something I needed at the end of the day. I think I was content with going anywhere, whether it was all the way on the East Coast, it was in the South, the Northwest, or whatever. I just think being at home is a special thing and a special privilege. I see it as a privilege, and to have so many great schools, whether it's Stanford, UCLA, USC, Cal, right here in my backyard, it's really legit, and it's something I don't take for granted at all. So staying home it's like I said, it's a privilege, and it's not something I needed, but it's something that is definitely it's worthwhile in the long run, in my opinion.
For sure. Now, Oklahoma wasn't really big in your recruitment with that staff. Did you know Lincoln Riley and his people at all, or did you have to really start fresh with them?
Yeah, I knew Coach Simmons a little bit, and I didn't really know Coach Riley at all. We never spoke. He came to the school prior to. There was a day I was sick, and he came to the school when he was still on staff at Oklahoma looking for wide receivers because he had just dropped a little, and I wasn't even there. I was sick that day, so unfortunately I didn't get to meet him at that time. But the relationship has grown from just the short time in which he was hired. I knew Coach Nickel, who was the slot wide receiver coach. He recruited me at Washington State and Mississippi State, and so I feel like that relationship is new for sure. But it's like meeting new people is always a good thing to do, and just building that connection with them is because everyone in the building is building the same connections, whether it's like the former players and the new players that are coming in. So I know they're real open to building a connection and meeting these guys and getting to know all of us just as we are today.
So given that, how important was the home visit with Lincoln Riley, the 2 visits to campus you made?
Yeah.
It was a really short window to get to know him and get a comfort level.
Yeah, it was extremely important. I think my biggest concern going into it was that I didn't know if Lincoln Riley and his staff genuinely wanted me at their program because they didn't want. I don't want to say they didn't want me at Oklahoma, but they had to fill wide receiver slot, or they filled all their wide receiver slots in the recruiting process, and they never offered me. And I talked to actually a couple guys here. They never offered a couple guys here, so it just kind of reaffirms. They were going strategically with the guys they were going with, and I have no hard feelings towards it. I have nothing like that. It's just getting to know him on these home visits, getting to know him on campus, and Coach Simmons for sure. It was something that was really important to me, and I think that was just you could say that was the deciding factor between the relationships and all the different things, like whether I was going to choose UCLA or USC or whatever school, because I know Texas was still in the mix and all these different schools, but I think building relationships with the coaches was really a big thing.
I have to imagine you asked him about that, hey, you didn't recruit me at Oklahoma.
Yeah. It was actually a question my dad had brought up. it was more appropriate that way. But he for sure he put the heat on him, and we asked both Coach Simmons on his home visit, and then on my official visit at USC, we asked Coach Riley when we were sitting in his office. So it was something that I know they were kind of expecting, and they had a great answer for it, and they gave me a straight up real answer, and I felt like that was the realness of the situation.
I've seen you say before that you feel like the culture has changed over there. You see the signs.
Definitely.
What gives you that sense when you were there that it was different, that it's going a different direction?
I think it all starts. A lot of it starts with the people that are there and who they are. I know Coach Wiley, the weight coach. My fault. He's my type of guy, and I think it really starts with those type of guys in the building, the guys that they hire, the people that they brought in themselves. Like I know when I was on my visit, they were very family oriented, and everyone's kids were around, and that's just something that you love to see. And so it's just kind of my biggest thing is you can say your culture's great, but if I see it with my own eyes, that's good. I can ask players that are there now, and they can tell that there's a shift kind of in what they're doing and the mindset there.
Was there one moment or one thing that was said that really crystallized that for you?
As far as the culture, I would just be that coach that talked with Coach Wiley. I know he pulled my parents aside and he told them that this is legit. This is what I do. And this is what I'm about. And the accountability aspect, a lot of it's on my shoulder, and I know they were convinced after that. And then, like I said, on my official visit, we went to dinner, and just every coach's family was there. They were all intertwined. It really did feel like they were all just one big family and kind of unified.
Well, UCLA, how did they get back into the mix so late in the process with you?
Yeah, I would just say it's kind of the shift in what they see with their vision and their offense. I would say, obviously, they wanted a quarterback, and they got one in Dylan Gabriel, and he just transferred. But I know that no matter what, they're going to get a quarterback because they want to move to that offense where the wide receivers are catching 1,000 yards in the season, and they can get the ball out and do all these different things with wideouts. So I know they want to develop their guys as far as wideouts more. Like UCLA was always a great school, a great academic school. I always had a great relationship with Jerry Neuheisel and Coach Kelly, and so the only thing missing for me was kind of the offense. I had the questions of the offense, and they definitely they confirmed it for me that they're trying to see a new direction. In order to win big football games, you got to be able to throw the football, and that's what they want to do.
Going back to USC one last time, since you just mentioned the offense, I didn't ask you about Lincoln Riley's offense.
Right.
Did they kind of break down how you fit in and how you would be used in that scheme?
Yeah, I would say a lot of colleges see me in a similar spot as that slot position, that Y. They compared it to what Marvin Mims did last year in our offense. So not only can I do that, they say, but they'll move me around a bunch. And I love being moved around, but they said the Y and kind of that guy up the middle, their sure hands guy can make plays, and he's going to win a one-on-one matchup whenever needed, third and long and whatever. So.
Just lastly, so in the end, how hard was the final decision, or was it pretty easy in your mind?
I would say it was a very, very hard decision when it came down to it, because both UCLA and USC were schools that, I grew up, I was more of a UCLA fan growing up. I was less of a USC fan. So it was just like both of these schools are right here in my ear, and they're both great schools. So the decision is very hard. And at the end of the day, I think it was. I'm very content with what I did and what I said and what came up in the end, and what I concluded with.
We'll find out in a few days. Thanks,
Yes,
CJ.
sir. On the 8th.